Alright gang, welcome back to our Survive 25 Challenge here on Zielonka. It is now November, and the decision has been made. We are going to begin farm number 2. As you recall, everything's down below in the description. But as you recall, our goal here is we have to make 3 separate farms, each utilizing some sort of production. And we, specifically, I say we as in for this series, we are not allowing crossover of equipment. So if it's a piece of equipment that I have on this field, I can't use it on field number 2, and so on. It's not a specific rule. Evidently, according to Rusty and Crustu, that's not a rule. You're allowed to utilize it and share equipment if you want to. However, we're not going to do that. We're going to make it a little bit more difficult on ourselves, so we're not going to do that. But we are allowed to sell things. Now, we have a greenhouse farm right now, as it stands. Eventually, as I've mentioned more times than I can count, it is going to be only a greenhouse farm with some productions on it, which means we will not need this harvester, we will not need, drill, all that stuff. We won't really need that. And my goal here, my plan here, is we are actually going to begin that process sooner than we initially anticipated. So what we're going to do is we are going to harvest this field that we purchased, field 71. We are then going to sell field 71. We're going to keep our harvester. We're going to keep the trailer. All of that's going to be kept until we're able to harvest our field number 10 that you have there. When that has been completed, we are no longer going to be drilling any crop field for this farm. This farm will now officially become only a greenhouse and production farm. We have a good start. We've got a good base there with how many greenhouses we have. I think we're perfectly fine now at this point to go ahead and start Farm 2. So initially, I didn't know for sure if that was in the rules or not, if you had to complete Farm 1 before you could go to Farm 2. It's not. Technically, we could go to Farm 2 and Farm 3 at the same time right now if we wanted to. We're not going to do that, at least not initially. We're going to stick with the fact that we're going to start Farm 2. Take a little bit of a hiatus from this farm, from the greenhouse farm. However, we will still continue to come back to the greenhouse farm to continue to pump water into it, etc. Once we've got a little bit more funds incoming, we'll start adding some more greenhouses into there. But for now, we're going to utilize the money and the income we're making from these greenhouses, from the auto selling of these greenhouse products. We're going to go ahead and utilize that to our advantage to help us with Farm 2. So, I think I cleared that up as well as I possibly could. Everyone in the comments also agreed, it seemed like, that it's a good time to go ahead and start that. So just to give you kind of a ballpark, we can sell this today. We can sell that. We can sell that. We can sell that. 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 And that. And that. All of those can be sold. I'm going to keep everything else for now, but all of that can be sold. So that's going to give us a good baseline here. We already have $25,000 from overnight sales, right? So it's going to give us a really solid baseline here to be able to start Farm 2. Now, I probably should be spitting these out as bales, but in this case, I think I'm not really going to worry about it too much. It would only make us probably another $500, $400, $500. It's not a very big field, this. So it's not going to produce that many. Well, it is going to produce a lot of bales because we've got the small baler. But you get what I mean. As far as the actual liters of the bales, it's not going to produce that much. And we're not going to make that much money off of it. So I'm not that concerned right now. We'll just let that one go this time. So how's everybody doing today? Hopefully you're all doing well. Things are good here. I literally just got back from the Stadium series, so I went, some of you know if you've watched any of my other series, I went to the NHL Outdoor Stadium series at Ohio Stadium, where the Ohio State Buckeyes play, outdoor football stadium. It was pretty sweet, man. It was cold as hell, though. Man, I was freezing. It was cold. The wind was brutal. There was a severe, heavy wind. It wouldn't have been bad if the wind wasn't so bad, but that wind was brutal, and it was just kind of like a wind tunnel in there, because it's all open, right? There's no dome or anything like that, so it ended up being the second largest NHL game of all time. So it's pretty cool to see that. I'm a big hockey fan. I've played hockey my whole life. A lot of you know that if you've been around the channel for a long time. So I was very, very excited to see that. Now, initially, when we bought the tickets, we had thought we got really high up, kind of nosebleed it. Well, not I told you it's in another series. I said it's just close. It makes no difference. Nosebleed seats. They ended up being a little bit better than the nosebleed seats. However, there was an obstruction to the view, so we couldn't see the whole thing. Basically, middle, center ice, most of the center ice, I really couldn't see. I could see both goals. So it actually ended up being, as far as the seat goes, a little bit better than I anticipated. But I almost kind of wish I was up a little bit higher and didn't have an obstruction view and been able to see the whole ice. But it was still worth it. The experience was great. It was a fun atmosphere. And they put on a great show, man. It was they did a really good job with it. So I put a picture up of my obstructed view. Plus I purchased a puck, and I purchased a hat too. I didn't put a picture of the hat up, but I purchased a puck and a hat while I was there. Everything's pretty expensive, so that was about the extent that I was willing to spend. Considering my wife and I paid a decent amount for the ticket. It wasn't as much as some of those insane, really decent seats were, but it still wasn't cheap. So, but we've never had an outdoor game. I've never seen an outdoor game, and since it's a sport I grew up playing, it felt like it was a good opportunity to splurge a little bit and purchase a ticket to it, and I'm happy we did, man. I'm really had a lot of fun. We went up a little early. My wife is a Kentucky basketball fan. I don't really love basketball. She loves basketball, though. She's hardcore. She went to Kentucky for college. And so we went up a little early, watched the game at a bar. A lot of Columbus fans up there, a lot of Detroit fans. It was just enjoyable. It was a fun time. So I guess what I'm getting at is, long story short, if you want to see a picture of my my obstructed view, which the picture makes it actually look a little bit worse than it really was. It's on my Discord. Link's down below in the description if you want to check that out as well. So we're just going to drive this back here full. I didn't feel like there was even a reason really to bring the tractor over here with the trailer. What we're going to do is go up here towards the end of the road and then unload it from there. That way we don't have to drive the tractor all the way to that field for really no reason at all, right? Because we're going to be going somewhere in this vicinity to sell this. And we're just going to sell it outright. It's going to be a little bit less than we could make if we waived it for a month or two, but that's okay. Now, as far as this actual field this farm goes, there are a few minor things we still have to accomplish to where it could really be considered, you know, a completed farm. And in my case, it's not going to be a completed farm until this entire area is filled up with greenhouses and productions. But two other things we have to accomplish according to the rules are to have 2 sheds. Right now, we only have 1, and we have to have a silo. Now, we do have a silo, but it's just for buying stuff. We have to have a silo for storing crops and things like that. So, I don't know where I'm going here. What am I doing? Go hook up to the trailer, Z. I don't know what you're doing, buddy. Perhaps I should just put the silo down now, though, because that way we could store the... No, we're gonna need the money. If we're gonna start Farm 2 today of any sort, we need the money. We need the money. Scratch that all together. We need the money. So how's everybody doing? Hopefully you're doing well. Things are good here. In yesterday's episode, in case you missed it, I happened to run into a tornado on the Triple Threat Challenge, and it was dangerously close to us. It didn't actually end up hitting us. I thought it was going to, the way that it was moving, but it ended up stopping. But it was close, man. It was really close. We've had a couple run-ins with the tornadoes on the game, but it actually hasn't been as much as I expected. I've actually been dealing with a little bit more damage due to hail than anything. I don't think I went too far, didn't I? I did go too far. Oh, that's all right. We can turn up here. We've been dealing with a lot more hail damage than we were tornado damage so far, so been a little lucky with not really getting hit by the tornado much yet. It's bound to happen soon enough, though. It's bound to happen that we're going to take some heavy damage from the tornado, and on a series at some point. Just been lucky enough to stumble around it for now. Now, as far as where we're going to start Farm 2, a couple ideas. I'm not 100% sold on the one that I'm thinking about yet, but really what I'm looking at is I think we might purchase this field 59. Now, there's nothing on this field. There is a little shed. I'm not even sure if you can utilize it or not. There is a shed. It's mostly just trees. We're not going to utilize it as like a sawmill or anything. Like, none of that's going to be happening, at least not for Farm 2. But I want to use this kind of as our base of operations. It's right next to the shop. We could purchase the starting home field here. I'm not going to do that. I would like to purchase this one. It's relatively flat land. It gives us plenty of room to have a big, massive base of operation with equipment and stuff, because Farm 2 that we're going to start here is going to be more of a what I would call a traditional farm. And what I mean by a traditional farm is we're going to be doing some kind of typical crop harvesting, not greenhouses or things like that. Now, as far as the crop we're going to do yet, not 100% sold on that either. I want to do something different, I think. I'm thinking maybe some root crops or maybe sugarcane. I don't know. We'll see. But something a little bit different, because we're doing a lot of the same stuff, I would say, and I want to try to do something new, change it up, spice it up a little bit. So we'll see. We will also take a look at the used market and see what's out there, if anything, for us. If we're able to find something out in the used market that makes sense, maybe we'll go with that approach, right? If there's some kind of harvester or a drill of something, we can go with that approach. But for now, really, the whole point of this episode is to go ahead and get started on Farm 2. We're probably not going to have a field for Farm 2 for a little while, but at least buy a plot of land that we can turn into our yard, start working on, getting things set up, equipment, house, all that, right? Because we have to have a second house for that. There's a lot of things that have to be accomplished here. So that's the approach I'm going to go with. Whether it's the right or the wrong approach, that's the one I'm going to go with. And we'll go from there. So this field is probably going to be a couple months before it's ready, so we're going to have to ideally keep this harvester and the trailer for a little bit longer. But once they are ready to harvest, then we can sell these. Now, you might be saying, well, Z, it kind of sounds dumb to, just sell equipment and then end up buying back very similar equipment. And you're right, it is kind of, a waste of money doing that. But I want to keep it, interesting. I don't want it to be too easy. A lot of people complain about things being too easy as it is anyway. So I don't want to be too easy. I want it to be a pretty severe challenge here. So we're going to go with that approach just because that's the way that I want to do it. Wheat is best right now. Really? They changed wheat too? I thought wheat was always in December and January. Oh, anyway, it's best now, so that's good. I really don't care. The grain mill is the middle. The farmer's market is dropping, and it's the best price. So we're going to go there. 5666. I'm going to do a quick save here just in case. I've been having some issues with some crashing. It's been mostly around doing woodworking, and we're going to be doing some woodworking here in a little bit. So although it's going to be brief woodworking, we are going to be doing woodworking nonetheless. We're going to have to chop down some trees. We're going to have to get a stump grinder. We don't have to keep all of those. We can obviously just sell those back once we're done, and that's exactly what we're going to do. But we will nonetheless have to have that. So that's kind of the first step, right, is to get enough money to buy the land. 2, get enough money to, make sure we buy a chainsaw, which is only $1,000, so that's not going to be a problem. But buy a chainsaw and then be able to get some kind of a stump grinder to get rid of all the stumps, right? While we're driving down here, we might as well take a look and see what's out here. Is there anything out here? A slurry. That's pretty useful right there. That is probably what we're going to do. I said I wanted to change it up a little bit and do something different. I think that's what we're going to go with right there. We can use carrots, parsnip, red beets. We've done those before, right? Prior, we've done those in the FS22 different series that we did on the channel, and we've yet to do them on FS25. So I think that is a great place to start there. 17,368 is not a terrible price either. So we can save ourselves a lot of money there. We could really buy that outright right now if we wanted to, but we're going to take a shortcut here. But first, we need to buy that plot of land. That's the most important thing. Now we're going to sell the plot we just harvested this wheat off of right now after we are done selling this wheat. And then we can start our mass exodus of selling the equipment that we don't need now at this point. This should get us to about 30 grand. 28,201, so 2,190. It's not great, but it's not terrible, right? That's extra money is always good. So let's go to here and let's sell this field because we don't need it any longer. And that would get us pretty much to the point where we can buy this plot of land. 42,744. It's not terrible at all. I like it. I'll just kind of walk you through it here a little bit. We'll do a bit of a bird's eye view. That's probably the easiest way to do this, honestly. So we're going to get probably about, I would say, somewhere around in here, and then over is what we'll get. So we can't go all the way up to this fence, and that's just because of the shop and everything, but that's fine. That doesn't really bother me. What I would love is this to be able to be purchased, but you cannot purchase that. It's kind of annoying. Like, I would like to be able to purchase this plot of land right here, because if I could do that, what I would ideally do is this would be the yard, and we'd make this the house, and maybe have some chickens or something over here, right? That's what I would love to do, but for whatever reason, they won't let you purchase this land. It kind of sucks. It's kind of annoying. I don't see why they wouldn't let you buy that, but whatever. In any case, we can purchase this piece of land here. It is relatively flat. Now, it is not the flattest piece of land, but it is relatively flat, so it's not going to be a perfect... Actually, it's a lot more hilly than I expected now that I'm actually down here looking at it. Maybe we should reconsider. Because if I want to make this a yard and I'm going to be putting stuff down, it's going to be causing all kinds of issues. Now, this area right here is flat. But I don't know if I can even get rid of that barn or not. Or that shed, rather. And since I'm not able to go up to the fence here, this fence area is pretty flat. It's going to be somewhere in here. And it starts becoming less flat somewhere in there. So maybe not. Okay, so I did do a little bit more research on that plot of land. You can actually see the shed from here, that half circle shed over there on the right. It's a little bit more hilly than I actually thought it was. I did do a brief look at it before we started this episode, and it looked relatively flat. And it is relatively flat on one little area, but if you continue to walk through it or go to one of the other ends, it's got a severe hill on it. So I think we might change our mind a little bit on our starting plot here for Field 2. I really want our yard to have a relatively flat piece of land, and there's not a whole lot of flat pieces of land on this map, unfortunately. It's a relatively flat map, but there's slight hills or slight, increases in elevations and decreases in elevations. It's not like there's mountains or anything like that, but there are hills, I guess, to an extent. So we might have to change our mind a little bit, but regardless, let's get this back here. We're going to start grabbing all of the equipment. I'm going to repair every piece of equipment before we go and sell it, just to save ourselves a little bit of money and gain a little bit of extra money too. So it's going to take a while to do this. I think maybe a bit of a mini time lapse here. It might be the way to go. We'll see what kind of money we end up with here. And then we'll make our decision on where we're going to go, whether it's that same plot of land or if we find something else. I might go to Plan B. I had a Plan B plot of location, or a location plot. If that didn't, come to fruition, the one I showed you already, which now that I looked at it a little closer, I'm not sure it's going to. Let me get all this going. We'll see you in a minute. All right, I got the last piece of equipment here. It's just the baler here, gang. Once we sell that, we have everything that we can we can sell right now at this point. Everything else we would technically need for right now. But on the way here, I had a light bulb go off in my head. I know we just purchased this a couple episodes ago, but what if we sell it? The reason why I'm saying that is, if we go to vehicles, all right, it's worth right now, without it being fixed up, $66,381. That's a lot of money, right? What if we do that? Because all we're going to need right now on the other side is just a water tank. We have something that can pull a water tank. Doesn't really matter how fast it is. If we sold that for 60, probably over 70,000 by the time we fix it, and we bought this Massey Ferguson for the farm up there, why wouldn't we do that? 26.5, you're going to get an extra $40-ish thousand, somewhere around in there, right? Why would we not do that? I mean, I guess I'd go with one that doesn't have four-wheel drive, but I think I want this one. This does have the ability for a front loader attacher, so we could do the front loader attacher too. We probably could do it now and still make money. And then I could sell that fork. Why wouldn't we do that? I think we're going to do that. I mean, it's stupid not to, right? I think it would be stupid not to. We're going to do it. I'm going to go back to the farm really quick with this. I'm going to pick up the fork. I'm going to repair this tractor. We're going to bring it back. We're going to sell it. We're going to buy that in Massey Ferguson for $26,500 or whatever it was. Buy the front loader for it, so it's going to be another $10-ish thousand, $11,000. We're still going to make 30-something thousand, 35,000 probably, off this tractor. Yeah. Why would we not? Why would we not do that? And I think I've made my mind up. I think we're going to hold off on that plot of land that I initially had talked about. It is too hilly. Basically, it's flat here to here, and then this whole right corner, if you will, from the middle of the 59 to the right corner, is all extremely hilly. I don't really want to mess with any more hills like that. We are going to go to Plan B. My Plan B spot was this one. It's a little bit more expensive, and by a little bit, I mean it's a lot more expensive. We're going from $42,000 to $109,000. But it's a big piece of land. It's, I would say 80% of the entire land is completely flat. It's a perfect spot for us to start a second farm. It's a great spot where we could make our own field on it to utilize the drill there for the root crops. Does mean we're going to have to get some money saved up, get some money together quickly to be able to buy a harvester. Realistically, I want to utilize that harvester that we used in FS22 for that, where it can actually store some stuff. So if I need to put it on a worker for a while, I can do so. Without that one, you're not going to be able to do that. Unless you buy the big one, which we're not anywhere near having enough money to buy the big one, right? The $400,000 one. So yeah, I think that's what we're going to do. I think that's what we're going to do, gang. I'm going to keep the weight here. But you should be able to utilize the weight when we start getting pallets that we're going to be moving around and stuff like that. Because right now I have everything on auto-distributing or auto-selling. But eventually, when we start getting some more stuff going on here, there's probably going to be some that are going to be spawning. And if they're going to be spawning, I want to make sure we have the right tools, right, to accomplish the job here we're looking for. And I am driving back to the shop without repairing these. And that time lapse, if you watched the full time lapse there, you probably did see the one time I did not go over here and actually repair anything. And that's because they were so fixed. They were fixed up pretty much as they could be. It was like $1 difference. This is not even worth it for $1. You're not going to really lose a whole lot of extra money off a $1 repair job. So I didn't even worry about coming down here. See, this one can't even repair it if I wanted to, right? So it doesn't really matter. But we will repair the tractor since we've made the decision here to sell this guy. And pick up a smaller tractor for the remainder of this farm. I think it makes more sense. Doesn't need to be fast. Really doesn't really matter. Really doesn't. Alright, here we go, gang. $19,000 to repaint this. But now we can sell it for 95 grand. Alright, that puts us at 261. That's fantastic. I'm going to go ahead and purchase this now. Because we don't want to lose it, right? It's a good drilling width. It's perfect. It only needs 70 horsepower, too, so that's even better. All right, so we've got that decision made. Let's go ahead and buy the small tractor here. We're going to buy this one. I'm going to keep it at 68 horsepower. If we need to upgrade it later, we can do so. I don't really care. Michelins, you know, I like my Michelins. Everything else, don't care, don't care, don't care. Yes, we want that. We'll put the quickie on. Okay, 29. And then we need to buy a front loader for it. This one should be sufficient. And then we need a fork, pallet fork. All right, leaves us with 205,000. By the time we buy that field, we're going to have just under $90,000 to our name, which should be sufficient for us to be able to buy a decent tractor. I'm not going to go for anything crazy. We're probably going to buy that John Deere that we utilize pretty often. Has a little over 100 horsepower to it. It's about 40-something grand. That way we have a little bit of wiggle room there, because we're going to need some other equipment as well, right? I'd like to put down one shed today, just so we can actually start to say that it is a farm. I'd also like to get some kind of a plow or a cultivator that has the ability to create fields, so we can start working on creating a field down there today as well. Are we actually going to get it done today? I don't know. Probably will, honestly. But will we actually get anything in the ground? I doubt it. I doubt it. That'll probably have to come in the next episode, more than likely. But we'll see. Either way, I think this was the best approach here. This tractor should be plenty sufficient to accomplish the job for the greenhouse farm. And it's a great tractor, too. And it's brand new. So we won't have to service it much at all, if any. Might also get rid of the service area. Well, I think I'll hold on to the service area for now until we're done with the harvester and the trailer and everything else, because there's no reason for me to drive those all the way down to the very south portion of the map, because that is our Plan B field that we're going to buy now. It's at the very, 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 very south portion of the map. As far south as you can basically go, right? We're as far north as you can go up here, and now we're going to go as far south as you can go. But it's a great plot of land, and it's going to be perfect for our farm too. So I'm happy with it. Now we've got this big shed. You might be like, well, what are you going to do with this shed? You don't need all of that room. You're right, I don't. But that's part of the rules, right? Part of the rules are to have 2 sheds and a silo here. Both of which we likely will not really utilize much, if any, of it. But we can put a smaller shed in, a really tiny shed to accommodate this one, and that'll be, you know, kind of sufficient for us. All right, so that's done. So let's go ahead and do a quick save here. We'll do autosave. I knew autosave was close if it wasn't already here. Happened to be so. So we'll go down here. I'm going to show you the field first before I buy it. As you can see, it is pretty flat. I mean, there are a couple little tiny hills, if you will, but it's a relatively flat piece of land here. You can look at it from this angle. I mean, plenty of room for us to make a yard, and plenty of room for us to actually turn a good chunk of this, if not most of it, into a plot of land. We're going to have to make it ourselves, certainly, but we can do so. And then really the goal is going to be probably to buy these fields here. I think these fields are a little pricey, all right? So they're not cheap by any means, but they're nice. It's a nice set of fields that are right here, right? We could always buy this one if we wanted to. It'd be outrageous. No, we're not going to buy that. That one, maybe. We might be able to purchase that one. But we can always buy these two down here, right, on this quadrant over here. It's not too far away from us. So that's what we're going to go with. So we've got our drill here. And, no, not wardrobe. Not wardrobe. And 70 horsepower is all it requires. We're going to want a little bit more than that. I need to look at the plows here. I'm probably going to utilize this one. Needs 80 horsepower. So again, not terrible. Yeah, that's the one we're going to go with for sure. It's just so inexpensive. So let's buy that. Actually, hold on a second. I need to buy the plot of land first. That way we don't run out of money. Okay, $96,000 is what we got. All right, we're going to buy this. Does it cost anything to change color? I think it does. It does not. What color do we want? Kind of want a green, I think. Let's just go that dark green, that forest-looking green. Okay, at least it's 88,000. Oh, one other thing I'm going to note. I am, even though we're probably not going to utilize it much, but if there ever is a period of time where we want to utilize cross resources, what I mean by resources is seeds, fertilizer, right? If we want to, for some reason, I'm going to allow that. I don't know how we would ever do that since these fields, these two farms are so far away from each other. The odds are very low, but if we want to, let's say we bought something from the shop and it's sitting at the shop and we want to utilize that for farm 2. Say we bought it for farm 1, but we want to utilize it for farm 2. We can do that. We just can't utilize the same pieces of equipment, if that makes sense. Similar to how we're sharing money across both fields, right? All right, so I think... So we've got the drill, we've got the plow. Really, we just need the tractor, and we want to save a little bit of money to put down a shed, right? So this is the one I was thinking about, 45,000. It will still give us a little bit of money, which is good. Has 116 horsepower. It should be able to do the job of everything we're looking for. We'll probably also buy a weight. Just because I think a weight makes a lot of sense. It's just, it's hard to get anything else when, that one is there and it's so inexpensive, right? It's hard to buy anything else. These are nice, but the problem is you don't have the ability for a front loader or a 3-point hitch or anything like that. So it's a little, they're nice, but probably not really worth it, if that makes sense. So yeah, we'll buy the John Deere. Let me put my Michelins on there. You guys know I love my Michelins. Wide tires cost 3,000 more. Medium tire, you're already paying $2,000 for medium tires. Why wouldn't I just go ahead and buy that? I'm not going to worry about the front loader for now. We probably will get a front loader at some point, but I'm not going to worry about it for now. We could put a weight on the front, it looks like. 60 kg front weight is $0. But if you want any more than that, it gets a little more expensive. I think I'll just go with the 3-point hitch. Okay, these are the 41 grand. Got to buy a weight, and then I think we should be good. Let's see. We want a relatively hefty weight here. This one should be sufficient for us. John Deere green as well to match. There's a John Deere weight, rather, so it'll match. Good. Probably should have made the plow John Deere green, but that's all right. That's all right. All right, so we are down to $39,000, but that is not bad, man. That is good. We'll take it. And we're constantly making money right now. You got to remember that. We're always going to be making money with those greenhouses. We just got to keep an eye on them and make sure that we fill them up with water when they need it. Otherwise, we're in good shape, man. Real good shape. So normally I would just jump cut this portion, or I would edit this portion out one way or another, right? I would tell you I'm going to jump cut it and turn off the recording. Whoa. Turn off the recording, or I would just edit it out upon, working on the video itself. I think in this instance, just in case for whatever reason you haven't checked out this area down here, we're just going to we're going to drive it. We're going to take a look and see what we come across, if anything. Maybe we find some eggs or some apples, rather. I doubt it, but maybe we will. All the ones that I feel like are easy to find, I think we've already hit all of them. That was a piece of wood, wasn't it? It was just a piece of wood, right? I'm not imagining something, am I? Just a piece of wood. But I feel like all the ones that are relatively easy to find, we've probably have found at this point. Just a quick hop, skip, and a jump from the shop down here. Not too bad. You just take this road all the way down till you get to the main road here, and then you follow the main road, and pretty much till you get to the end of the map, and there we are. These fields on the right are the ones I was talking about. These are all the ones that we're going to be looking to try to purchase as we move along here to expand the farm. Going to have to be a little bit strategic about where we decide to put the actual portion of the yard at. We want it to be in pretty much the flattest portion we could possibly find, given the issues that we've run into so far. and just in general, the issues we run into anytime you try to put something that wants a flat piece of land on an area that's not flat. So that was our plot of land that I just dropped that off in. It goes way down there, so the nice thing is there's a lot of land. It is going to take us some work to get it to a point where it can be arable, but that's all right. We'll get there. Let me go up to the shop. I'll grab the drill. I'll meet you back here. All right, I did go ahead and buy a box of seed, so it's at the shop, and obviously these little drills, they don't really take much. We may have to get some more, but well, you know, it's there for now nonetheless. All right, so there are a few little trees here we're going to have to take care of. That's fine, not a big deal. We can buy a chainsaw pretty quickly here to take care of this one tree here. Go ahead and turn that off for now. All right, so we need to just do kind of this walk through here a little bit, right, to see where the flattest sections are, because that is going to be the yard area. We want as minimal impact as possible to the land here. I'm thinking kind of here. This is looking pretty flat here, gang. And then what we can do, right? I mean, obviously, if we put it... This is probably the best way to look at it, honestly. This is how I was looking at it before. When I kind of looked at it in that, you know, that first-person view there, the first field we were talking about, and it looked fine, but it's not down here. Down here, it's kind of leaning this way a little bit, right? So it's got to be somewhere up in here for sure. I mean, this looks like it's the flattest right here. Okay. So, we got to put down a shed. I'm not going to put down anything expensive because you don't have a ton of money anyway. Probably realistically going to utilize the same kind of things we've been utilizing, right? One of these that aren't outrageously priced. Okay, land is not owned by you. Okay. Uh-oh, my controller batteries are low. That's not good. Alright, let's go see how that is. I think that's going to be okay. It didn't look terrible. There might be a little bit of land manipulation, but you're going to have that no matter where you're at. I mean, that's just part of it. There's not really going to be a whole lot you can do. Oh yeah, that's fine. That's perfect. That's not bad at all. Well, maybe it is a little bit. Dang. It is floating a little bit down here. That's alright. It's not terrible, though. We can make do. We can make do. You're going to have that a little bit. Like I said, it's about the flattest in this entire map, but yeah, there's a little bit of floating there. Alright, I decided to spend a little extra money, gang, and just kind of redo it a little bit. So we have fixed it. It's still not perfect, but it is significantly better than what it was. So we spent a little extra, about $1,500 more, something like that. There is a little bit of a drop-off here, but it's fine. It's not that big of a deal. This area here is still pretty flat. There's a couple little bumps, but not too bad. Not too bad at all. Okay, so we've got the shed down, which is really the most important portion, right? I wanted to get at least a shed down so we had at least a beginning of some kind of a yard. So now that we know where that is, we can start working on a field. Now, what I would like to do, since we're going to be doing root crops here, specifically some kind of beets, parsnip, you know, carrots, whatever, I kind of want to make them squared and smaller fields, if that makes sense. It seems to be the best way to go about this, in my opinion. We figured that out pretty quickly in FS22 when we were doing that. Specifically in that 200 horsepower challenge that we were doing. We figured it out pretty quickly that was the best way to go. So that's kind of what I want to try to stick to here as well. Is short, well, not short, long, skinny fields that are very easy to harvest. They're very easy to drill and give plenty of land, or plenty of room, rather. It was not the best job I've ever done. I'm going to be honest with you. That was pretty bad there, Z. Let's see if I can fix this. I am terrible at trying to keep these lines straight, and I know I'm supposed to be utilizing the little compass there in the bottom left-hand corner where the mini-map is, but I'm still, even when I try to do that, I'm not the best at it. But I'm gonna try to do better here. All right, that's better. That's much better. I went a little bit too far on that one, but that's all right. So this lizard plow here that we had that we're utilizing right now is perfect. It's a really, really nice plow. I can plow through this no problem at all. Obviously, I'm spitting up rocks. I kind of forgot we had rocks on, I'm going to be honest with you. We're just going to have to suffer with them, though. I don't have anything to get rid of them. And I don't think we're going to for a while. Now, these fields we're making right now, when I'm done with it, which we're actually pretty close to finishing the first one already, it may not seem like it's very big, and it really isn't. But when you start actually, you know, putting down the crop in and you actually harvest it and stuff, it's a lot bigger than you might think it is. You get a lot out of it, unless they've changed a bunch of it in FS25, and maybe they have. It's a lot, man. This is a lot bigger than you think it is. A lot bigger than you think it is. Just going to try to touch this up a little bit here. All right, that works. And I think if we do another 1 or 2 passes here, that should be sufficient. Yeah, gonna have to touch that up too. It's fine. Gonna need a little bit of touch-up work no matter what, because it's really hard to make a perfectly even square, especially on console. I feel like utilizing a controller is not as easy as a mouse and keyboard to try to make straight lines in a game like this, right? I think most people would agree with that statement. All right, let's do one more pass, and we're gonna say this is good. That was terrible, Z. I'm going to fix that too. That was terrible. Oh, boy. Okay, let's try to fix this up here, this line up here, a little bit better. See if I can do a little bit better job here. All right, I think that'll be just about it. Yep. All right, so let's go put the plow away. We don't necessarily need to put the plow in the shed, but for now, since we don't really have a whole lot of other equipment besides that, we're going to go ahead and do so. Now, one last thing we really need to put down here is some kind of house of some sort. I'm not sure if we're going to put down a mini house like we did on the other farm, or if we do something different. Maybe we put down a tent for a brief period of time until we're able to buy something a little bit more luxurious, if you will. There's a bit of a drop-off there, but that's fine. That's fine. We'll flatten that out. That's not a big deal. Okay, so we are going to leave the episode at this point, gang. I hope you enjoyed it. Farm 2 is underway. We have a field plowed out. It is just a matter of us drilling that in the next episode, and then we will probably make a second field going that way of a similar size, and then probably a one over there somewhere that might be a little bit more of an awkward shaped farm field, or field rather, not farm, awkward shaped field. Not sure yet how I'm gonna do that one, since it's such an awkward area back here with the curves and everything else. But I'll figure something out. Eventually, this field will probably get expanded once we're able to get rid of that little tiny tree closer to the end of there by the road. This area over here, there is an invisible wall right here. As you can see, I just ran right into it. It's right there. So who knows what we do? Maybe we just expand this field out closer to the invisible wall. I don't know yet. That's probably the way to go about it, actually, now considering how much room there actually is between that and the invisible wall. That's probably what we'll end up doing. But nonetheless, we're going to leave the episode at this point. Again, I hope you enjoyed it. Smash the like button, subscribe if you're new. All that good stuff helps me out an absolute ton. Thanks so much to my channel members. All 12 of you are absolutely amazing. Cannot thank you guys enough. And until next time, I'll see you all in the next episode.